Welcome to Go Home Heat, a wrestling podcast. Actually, it's a sports entertainment podcast. I have the man, Justin, here to discuss the week in sports entertainment, the amazing Legends Night, which we were hypercritical. I was hypercritical of it last week.
I would also say that I would be hypercritical of it. And let's be honest about how many legends we actually had present. Because some of their ideas of legends were a little suspect.
The Boogeyman was there.
Yeah. Sure was. That happened.
Yes. We begin this wonderful episode with Hulk Hogan's phone.
Oh, my God.
And then he flexes. We'll move on to Miss TV, though.
Yes, let's do that.
On Legends Night, goodness. John Morrison winds up imitating Flair and Booker T and Hogan. And
does that man's acting ability know no bounds?
Morrison?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Boone the Bounty Hunter?
It's brilliant.
It's
cinematic masterpiece.
You ever seen Dr. Zhivago?
Yes, very similar. I've heard it's on the short list for the Criterion Collection.
Nice.
Yes.
Congratulations, John Morrison.
John Morrison.
Okay. The New Day comes out and interrupts. Kofi and Woods hijack the show a little bit there. And the best of things, they imitate the correct thing. And then, of course, the Morrison unwittingly begins to enjoy the conversation because he's fun. And
yeah, because he's not,
he's not the Miz, who's a party pooper.
Yep.
And
Debbie Downer over here.
And is completely consumed by the concept of being respected.
Being respected now.
Whereas Morrison wants to get a degree in a hibachi cooking school.
Yeah. I mean, he's got real aspirations.
For this year's... The New Day asked him his goals. He wanted to have dinner, I believe, with Tatanka, which who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Right. The Miz is going nuts, and Teddy Long comes out.
Loved this. I do love a good Teddy Long sighting.
That's the thing about... As much as I want to complain a little bit about having to bring Legends back in theory to give your audience a shot in the arm, and I'll just get it out of the way. This was one of the best rated shows they've had in a while. So I have to kind of bite my lip a little bit.
If your
they kept 2 million people through the entire episode, which never they usually don't even have 2 million. Then they keep them through the whole episode. And as a observer, when I see a Teddy Long, I mark out. I love Teddy Long. And when he says, "You're gonna have a match with the Undertaker,"
yes,
and they're like, "Ooh, you're gonna have to wrestle the Undertaker." Morrison's like, "Oh my God, we're in trouble." And then of course they all realize Taker's retired. And
I love.
And Adam Pearce comes out and is like, "No, we can't do that."
Is it sad that I am more marked out for Teddy Long than for Goldberg?
No, it's actually appropriate.
And that is a true story. And I put my head down.
And I couldn't help later on when they have all of them sitting there, and it's Mark Henry sitting beside Teddy Long, who's sitting, and I think Ron Simmons is on the other side of the stage. I thought to myself, man, if I could ever sit down in a room with Ron Simmons, Mark Henry, Teddy Long.
That's a perfect dinner for three or whatever they do.
They had one with, who was it? Simmons was on one.
Was he on there with...
I want to say Henry and the Godfather. I want to say it was them, and of course, because the reason why I say that is I do believe they wound up talking about Dwayne a little bit in that, and how, Ron had to kind of, what is the thing where Mark Henry, I don't think it was on that, but Mark Henry talks about how he was looking at Ron Simmons, and he said, Ron's like the only guy I was ever around that intimidated me. And he was like, but you're a guy, so when you're sitting in the locker room, you kind of size guys up. And I'm looking at him, and I don't want to because he's a scary guy, even though he's nice. He said, but your mind can't help but go there. And so you start thinking, well, if I was to tie up with that dude, what would I do? And I'm doing that, and Ron notices me, and he's like, You thinking about it? And I was like, and he said, and I was like, no, sir.
Yeah. It's like
Mark Henry, world's strongest man, looks at Ron Simmons and says, no, sir.
Yeah. That's the effect right there. Yeah. That's cool. That's like Ron Simmons is like an anime master, man. He's like, he felt the blood intent coming from.
Right.
He's like, you thinking about it?
Well, what's funny too is I would guess that Ron Simmons has never had any real formal
fight training.
Right. No. But he just is physically the type of person that you would know that's a long day.
Oh, dude. And he's gifted athletically. He was a good football player. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's not slow. He's not uncoordinated. He's so strong. He would be, if he got his hands on just about anybody. When you hear about him like peeling lockers and snapping frying pans and stuff like that. Yeah. There's even guys like real fighters would have trouble with that because he can just
right. And too, as a nose guard, he was undersized.
Yeah.
Even though he was like the strongest person in college football when he was being an All-American, was like one of the first defensive players to have a shot at the Heisman. Even though it wasn't a realistic shot, he was in that conversation. He still was not a big guy for a nose guard.
No.
So when you put that in the real world, you're talking about, a nose guard at his level is getting double teamed, which in college football, that's 600 pounds pushing on you. Mm-hmm. On you. Mm-hmm. Right? Which tells you what an animal Howie Long was.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Breaking away from this, because that dude was an undersized guy that was effective in the NFL.
That's crazy when you think about it. Mm-hmm.
Just a beast. Okay, back to the actual stuff we're supposed to be talking about. Wind up with the tag team match.
Really?
Yes, I never saw that coming. And I thought it was pretty good. You wind up with a great deal of actually, you don't get a lot of back and forth. Miz and Morrison got their butt whooped the whole time, right?
Pretty much.
And then they
had a hot tag.
Yeah,
that was barely a hot tag because they had barely got a lot of offense in. And
yeah, the strange thing to me, and not that I'm hyper frustrated by it, but like we said, Shining Wizard gets to 1, 2, 3 here, and Miz and Morrison are never presented as formidable.
I'm almost convinced watching this match though that they're about to break them up. I thought that was going to be the ending this time because I think Miz, they're playing the Miz is getting frustrated with John Morrison. John Morrison ate the pin.
Yeah, and what they're doing with John, jeez.
Dude,
I get that he makes everybody look good, but can he get some offense in?
Yeah, I mean his offense is amazing.
Yeah.
He got to throw like one kick and it was like super cool and everything else, and it's like, dude, come on, man.
Like, is there somebody backstage going, man? He makes everybody else look bad because he's so good. So let's just
we can't
slow it down.
Sadly enough, I could see that happening.
Yes. Oh, speaking of which, though, the article we talked about last week with Bruce Pritchard. Recently, there was a leak that the WWE people that aren't Pritchard were very upset by the statements he made because they don't want the truth to be perceived as true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They want to keep that imaginary, the CM Punk, the imaginary brass ring out there. If you just work hard enough, you'll be a superstar.
Right.
But there is no actuality. And this week is a living embodiment of exactly that point. Right. We will go for the short-term sugar high instead of trying to build up a great big dinner of multiple, courses of great stuff
that can go forward.
Yeah.
Charlie interviews Randy, and his voices wanted him to burn her alive last week because of, as we spoke of, he had a shot at burning. Bliss was begging to be burned like the Fiend was at the pay-per-view. But Randy has mellowed, evidently. No. He realizes that his hatred for himself, this is the way he has changed. His hatred for himself, he is going to have to mold into a weapon. And now
he hates himself for being merciful. And he's now going to mold that hatred into a weapon.
Correct. And he's going after the legends tonight. And he will run every one of them down all show long.
Yeah, he doesn't attack them physically, but he sure does attack them verbally.
Yes. On TikTok, it seems Angel Garza has won the 24/7 title. Thank goodness. Angel bumps into Alicia Fox, legendary Alicia Fox.
Yes.
And she thinks he knows very little of beauty. Sergeant Slaughter agrees. Mickey James is there. Tatanka in full headgear. Tatanka.
Yes.
I kind of thought maybe he was going to wrestle. And then,
I was hopeful.
And then I realized he was just straight up. Maybe that's how he rolls.
I bet that's how he shows up at the Walmart.
Yes, which is great. Okay. Mickey gets the rose that Angel Garza tends to be looking to give out to people, which I'm sure made the national treasure, her husband, incredibly happy.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Sergeant Slaughter calls him a maggot, which is just great. AJ Styles versus Elias. Again, good performances, similar stuff. The ending was a little different in that we hit the Styles clash. Riker tries to go for the guitar, almost kicks that thing.
Dude, that was... All right, I'm not going to lie. I marked out for that. That was sweet. The camera, it looked cool.
You didn't know he was there.
Didn't know he was there. 7'3", got him in the ring. I didn't even see him till his foot comes out of nowhere and explodes the guitar. That was bad, dude. I enjoyed that.
Absolutely, because his foot is the size of a person's torso.
Yeah, dude, and you didn't know he was that... He's pretty quick.
Yeah.
He was quick now. That was not a bad kick.
Right. Charlotte announces she will be entering the Rumble, which we will get these segments throughout the next few weeks. Bro, Riddle, Big Show. I got an idea. You could be called Big Bro. Yes. The Big Show plays as if he is entertained by this. And Orton, which has been a lot of the Big Show's career, acting as if he's entertained by things around him.
Yes.
And then rolling his eyes as he walks away.
That's a true story right there.
Right. My soul is slowly being taken from me. Luckily, I'm so huge, I have a lot of soul to take. Okay, Orton just runs him down here. You can't wrestle ever again. And Show's like, I'm not retired. And he's like, well, I grabs him by the throat, does other things to him, and is like, if you had any heart, you get up and fight.
Yeah.
But you won't, because you can't do anything to me as big as you are. And I thought that was pretty good, but when he wouldn't fight, Randy goes to look for somebody else to talk to and run them down.
Yeah.
To erase their...
Randy's gone all mean girl on us.
He is a mean girl backstage. Okay, Charlotte, Asuka versus Lacey and Peyton. And I guess Peyton is now becoming Poison Ivy, according to her stuff she does coming down.
Okay.
I'm a Poison Ivy fan.
I am too.
Peyton
We're
doing
going to have the whole Batman Rogues Gallery here sooner or later.
Yes. Peyton doing a whole bunch of wrestling in this thing. And she looked pretty good. Lacey does some flirting with Rick that really infuriates Charlotte.
Was this necessary? Was this whole thing here necessary?
I could have done with a match instead of the whole thing being around Ric Flair being an old, perverted, gullible married man.
Yeah.
Because she pulls on his tie. Did she kiss him on the head or
something?
Came close to that.
Yeah.
Lays down beside him.
Yeah.
Which winds up, and then Rick winds up tripping Charlotte, costing Charlotte the match, which I guess they had to figure out a way for Charlotte and them to lose to turn this into a form of a rivalry.
But then we had to do the Charlotte running her dad down again, and that just...
Well, the weird thing about that, too, was like the next day she said something on social media like, I can never stay mad at you for long, which, to your point, if you were at least going to stick with it...
So stupid.
It could have been a reason for Rick not to be around for a while.
Yeah.
You bring him back in a different situation, and or just you kind of maybe doesn't need to come back.
No, we're good.
And maybe you could have used it in that way. You could have put a chip on Charlotte's shoulder, but then to allow her to just go and kind of see like, oh, yesterday never happened. What are we doing?
Now, it's almost like somebody wrote a script during the show.
Tripped her, like I said, grabs Charlotte's foot, which causes her to fall on the ground, and
just enough.
She loses.
Yeah.
And then Rick gets a kiss, which is just wonderful. Anyway, Hogan interrupts
Oh, God.
Drew and Sheamus.
Oh, yeah, we got to talk about this.
Hogan is a Sheamus fan. Well, his finisher is the white noise.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess Hogan Hogan says he's proud of Drew, and that Drew reminds him of him, and
That's offensive.
yes, and Drew's like, there's so many jokes, but so many I don't want to say. Does Sheamus remind you of the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart? And Sheamus takes big offense to this.
That is actually the least offensive thing I would take. I'd much rather you compare me to Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, than
Anything Hogan has said that say made it to Gawker. Okay. MVP with Lashley versus Matt Riddle. Riddle attacks early and gets Lashley kind of in trouble. I thought this was done. I thought this was wrestled perfectly. Lashley no selling the uppercuts, and then Riddle just continues the onslaughts, and Lashley's able to combat those things. Lashley does get him in the Dominator at some point, the full Nelson that he does. And when he's swinging Riddle around, the ref winds up ducking, and as he's ducking, Riddle taps. Lashley realizes it, lets go. Riddle realizes that the referee never saw that and catches with the roll-up and runs away. I kind of like this because we need some form of a rivalry for Lashley, and I think Riddle is physically formidable enough.
I don't think they sold that as much in this match as they could have.
That's where we're going, though, right?
Yeah.
The next one
that
more.
was like I'm a little better like competition guy than you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew this little slick move, but in a way, here's my problem with it. What has Lashley been famous for with that Dominator for the last few months?
Not I didn't think about it like that, but he never lets go of it.
Never lets go of it right when they tap.
So why would he do that to a person he's already irritated with?
Yeah, shouldn't he have locked it in there till the ref threatened him?
Yeah. Well, he couldn't because that wouldn't be in the script.
Yeah, but I like the match. I like these two guys in the ring together. I think they're both real. I mean, I think they can do a lot of cool stuff.
It's just they booked Lashley so strong,
which I enjoy. I really like.
It's just hard to kind of figure out a way to.
Yeah, because they haven't booked Matt Riddle as strong as he could be. So instead of him looking like I've got the technical ability to compensate for your strength.
And the Riddle that we had in NXT coming out of the matches with
Timothy Thatcher
would make sense.
Yes.
But we've played on the comedic stuff so much, and then tag teaming with Hardy and things like that.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from on that.
Yeah.
I do think, though, this has
I like it. I don't dislike it.
This has the possibilities of getting him where we want him.
Well, and I think it's cool because I think finally Matt Riddle got somebody like he picked at Goldberg. He picked at Brock Lesnar. And now he's like, I hope he thinks, all right, I'm going to show everybody what I was trying to get across. That, like, if you give me somebody like this, we can put on a great match. You know, more talking towards Brock Lesnar than Goldberg because I don't even think Matt Riddle can get a great match off Goldberg. But
I was just trying to think. No.
But like, I think he can make his
clever. But
he can make his point here. Like, we got a guy who's like a world class fighter, world class wrestler. You got me. We can do something. You know.
Yeah. Mark Henry has advice for Ricochet. Get it done, basically.
Become the world's strongest man.
Henry approached by Orton, who reminds him of how pathetic he is to be here on Legends Night with a scooter. I guess Henry has hurt his ankle or something, Achilles, something like that, because he was one leg on the scooter. Orton says he has many receipts from the Hall of Pain days and the World's Strongest Slam days. Then he says, if you pedal away now, you can avoid the 3 most dangerous words in sports and entertainment, or the punt kick treatment. And of course, the guy who I consider our real national treasure, Mark Henry, goes off dejected, and this is really playing into Randy is a
horrible human being.
Yes, one of the most mean girls ever.
He's very mean.
Yes. Okay. Charlie with MVP, and MVP tries to talk, and Lashley's like, he tapped out, which she did. And he's big mad, and this is going to be going forward. We've already talked about this. Dana Brooke versus Baszler, and this was similar to the other matches they've had, but
well, it didn't start out as Dana Brooke versus Baszler. It started out as Mandy Rose versus Shayna Baszler, and Baszler jumps and chokes out Rose before she even gets down there.
Correct.
And gets in there versus,
by golly, if you're going to hurt my friend,
Dana Brooke,
you're going to hurt me too.
Yeah. I am both annoyed and I'm happy for Dana Brooke.
Mm-hmm.
I am happy.
She's a hard worker.
She's a hard worker. She's really worked on her game. She's improved a lot.
Mm-hmm. The finish was she's getting choked out, and she managed to roll it into a any predicament while getting choked out.
Yeah,
right? Which so she gets a win.
Everybody has. I've seen that move on Shayna Baszler. Like,
it's the only way you can beat her.
Yeah.
At some point, Shayna might want to develop a counter.
Yeah, or use one of the 1,562 probably she has in her head ways of getting out of that, and applying some other horribly debilitating submission to you.
Yes.
Instead of just laying there for 3 seconds, holding a choke.
Yes. Okay. Flair is talking to IRS, and he doesn't seem as dejected as he should, having been disowned by his daughter earlier.
She does that every week.
Yes. Randy, well...
He might not remember it, Kevin.
He also is like, I get busted flirting with girls that are too young for me, like, daily. This is not an issue.
IRS is just happy to see Rick. He's handled most of Rick's divorces, made millions.
IRS talking to Rick is somewhat of a shoot anyway.
Yes.
Considering the tax problems he's probably had over the years. Randy asked Rick if he wants to walk him to walk that aisle with me one more time, big guy, and Rick is so dejected because what Charlotte did, that's one thing, but Rick wanted one last run in the sun with the world champ, and Randy took that from him, and I can almost believe that is exactly how Rick feels.
Yeah, I think it's odd. I'm just going to point this out. IRS is standing there, doesn't have anything to say to Randy about setting his son on fire.
True.
Did you think about that?
I did not. His
kid, this dude,
Bray Wyatt is really his kid.
And
you burned my son down.
Alive.
We haven't seen him in weeks.
You're pretty much responsible for his last mental breakdown.
Yes.
He's been wearing sweaters all the time. Ever since.
He stinks because it's summertime. We're down here in Tampa.
Why?
All summer he wore sweaters.
Yes. And they don't even.
You came to Christmas dressed as an evil clown. What on earth are you doing to my family?
We can't send these pictures out.
but instead we focused on the fact that Randy said the only reason you're even a little relevant nowadays is because your daughter is 10 times the wrestler you ever were. 8. But by the same token,
fair but true.
But by the same token, wrestling's come a long way since Rick was in the ring, and he was the greatest of his time.
Yes,
fair enough. But I thought it was well done. He's been, like I said, Randy's been mean to everybody all night, and it's worked again.
I just don't understand why he didn't turn. Not set your kid on fire.
You, dear sir, are not the man who taught me everything I know. You're a pathetic old man. Randy is a prick.
Yeah, he is.
Riddle and Lee are kicking it backstage, and Riddle wishes him luck. He said, I just pinned a champ. You go pin a champ. I'm going to give you some luck. You don't need it. You're a stallion. Look at you, you big, beautiful man.
Yeah. That was the moment right there. You could see Keith Lee almost break.
Yeah, because Keith was doing the curls.
He cut his eyes at him. I think he almost let it giggle out right there. It was close.
You big, beautiful man. Which I feel like Keith Lee calls himself a big, beautiful man as much as possible. So I think they're on the same wavelength there. Orton versus Hardy, and this was great. You know, they're really good. When Orton stuck his fingers in those ear holes to harken back to the match where he put the screwdriver in his ear hole and twisted it.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if that hurts, but it looks like it hurts.
I just don't want him to sneeze or something.
Snap that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll have nightmares about seeing that.
Oh, and Joe said, mercifully stomping him. I never thought I'd say that because he quits pulling on the earlobes and starts doing the Orton stomp or the Garvin stomp is one of the great.
I love it.
Yeah. You have a guy down so much you can't even fight back, and then you're just stomping on whatever. You stomp whatever he
leaves sticking out, man.
Right.
It's nasty.
Wonderful. Yeah. Atomic drop on the knee gets this thing switched around a little bit. Jeff hits the jawbreaker, which is a classic move for him, and then the atomic drop on the ding-a-ling, and then we get a point blank whisper in the wind, which I thought there wasn't a half a foot between them. And somehow he manages to flip over and do the whisper in the wind on him. Again, Jeff is amazing for his age. We figured it out though. Matt can barely move. And Jeff somehow has managed to continue to wrestle at this level. And Jared and I discussed this yesterday. We didn't do this on air yesterday, but I realized as Jared explained these things to me, I started to think, and I thought, okay, what it is you've heard of Dorian Gray.
Yes, picture of Dorian Gray, yes.
Matt Hardy's the picture.
Yes.
All of Jeff's injuries go into Matt
Hardy. Yes.
So Jeff jumps off of a scaffold, lands on the ground. Matt's back breaks.
Yes. I was done. All right. Because they said something, and I just got to in the Rhea Ripley match.
Yeah.
Raquel Gonzalez like, never have I seen a superstar risk their body for a match this much. I'm like, man, I watched Jeff Hardy like literally try to kill himself, throwing himself off of like 20 foot, 30 foot.
Dude, the bump he took a couple weeks ago where there wasn't enough room for the table and the stairs, so they didn't move either.
No.
And so he hits the table hits the table with his legs and the stairs with his head.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You can't take that away from him.
Never say anybody's tried to kill themselves like Jeff Hardy has.
No.
Because it ain't true. Hardy goes to the top and Orton rolls away, and this turns into the Joe with the step into my parlor, said the
spider to the fly.
Yes. Joe was good.
Oh, he's so good.
Orton winds up flipping it. 2 reversals. Orton winds up as he's
doing the twist of fate.
Twist of fate, and that turns
into the RKO.
And that goes back and forth twice, and you do get the RKO. 1, 2, 3. Great, right? Melina's backstage, another legend. Who? She's probably closer
than Alicia Fox
to being a legend, and I like Alicia Fox. I like her. You know, she's good. She's good, but it just Melina was a little better and a champion and all that. Okay, Melina is down with the Lucha House Party as well. She should be. Hurt Business. This winds up being, this is a pretty good match, but I think what's more important is the fact that MVP and
Cedric and
Sheldon lose due to the fact that they're in the process of kind of getting on each other's nerves and probably breaking up. And, of course, a huge week for the Lucha House Party as he winds up with a championship Grand Malik winds up with a championship opportunity on Wednesday, and they managed to win this.
And he beat Miz last week.
Right. So this is a huge little run for them. And more importantly, MVP is screaming at them once they lose. Are you embarrassed? I'm embarrassed. And Cedric kind of acts like he's just not about the team life at all anyway, and kind of storms away from both of them. Sheldon has to be held back from him. What you got?
Why?
Why would we break them up?
Dude, they're the best thing you got on the show. We've done this. I've seen this.
It's quick, too. It's not like they've been together for 2 years.
No.
It took them months to get Cedric into the group. You have this great tag team, and now
you're going to break them up?
It's weird, right?
I don't get it one bit.
Yeah, hopefully they'll rewrite that 7 minutes before the next episode.
Yes.
Angel tries to be smooth to Tori. What's her last name?
Wilson.
Tori Wilson, the formerly known Mrs. No, it was Billy Kidman who was actually Mrs. or Miss. How did they do that?
I don't remember.
They were married, right?
Yes.
And they always called him, and it's not really fair. I probably should say Billy Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was more famous.
Yes.
Although I will say this, Billy Kidman, good wrestler.
Yeah, Shooting Star Press, baby.
One of the first ones that
Northern Light. No, was it? Is it Shooting Star?
Yeah, he was a Shooting Star Press guy, right? Okay, so Tori tells Angel that she's obviously annoyed with him a little bit, and she tells him that Cardi B is in the women's lounge. Go look, and it turns out that's actually the Boogeyman's lair, which frightens Angel.
That wasn't Cardi B.
That was not Cardi B. That was the Boogeyman.
What?
Yeah, potato.
The resemblance is uncanny.
Yeah, and he runs because when people are eating worms, it's scary.
It's terrifying to me.
Correct, and also.
Unless Joe Rogan's standing there with a microphone, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Know where I am.
Right, I know where I am. And so he runs into an R-Truth 24/7 win, and R-Truth skips off to see the Wizard with Tori and Nikki. Ron Simmons walks up on Garza and yells, "Damn." I'm okay with this whole thing as long as I get to see Ron Simmons say damn.
Yes, you sold me right there.
Yeah. So let's get to the main event of the evening. Drew versus Keith Lee. My God. What a great match. All the legends come out and sit on the ramp. And then we get into a tremendous battle of two very huge men. Keith hits Drew with the pounce, knocks him over the railing, heading into one commercial. Lee stalks Drew throughout the match. He talks his shite the whole time. He tosses Drew, who, as we know, is an immense man, like there's nothing to it. Drew slides out the back door, shoves Lee into the turnbuckle, turns that into a suplex. Neck breaker, kick up, all this stuff, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Drew was able to climb around on Keith Lee a few times.
Mm-hmm.
How incredibly, Drew was probably 270.
Yeah, 260 right in there.
And 6'5", 6'6".
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to, like, do a pseudo luchador spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Finally have somebody who's like, I've been dreaming of this for years.
How incredible is Keith Lee to be able to support?
Yeah.
To be the Jungle Gym portion of that.
Yeah. That holds up this.
Just amazing. And
Keith Lee is a superstar.
And Lee is able to do luchadorian things at his weight. He can jump over you. He can do so many things. Drew tosses Lee about, oh my God. There was one spot though. Oh my God. When Lee's on the apron, something happens, so Drew is able to, they kind of give Drew the help so that he can powerbomb him onto the table. Go ahead and put him on the apron because it'd be a little harder to pick him up.
Yeah, and you're not getting him there.
Right. So he carries him over, and I don't know if Drew thought he could throw him 3 feet, but he threw him 2.
Yeah.
And so his spinal column just hits that corner.
Tank.
And I was like, oh my God, if Keith Lee can get up and move, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, if I was Keith Lee, I'd be like, bro,
there's a receipt.
That is not a spot
cool.
we do again.
That ain't cool.
Yeah, and then a lot of times you'll see a spot like that, and then the replay will happen, and you'll be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. No, it was every bit that bad.
You'll see that somehow they got some portion of their body to protect it. No.
Mm-hmm. We get a spot where they're fighting each other to get a backslide, and that turns into a Future Shock DDT, which was another great spot here. The Lee headbutt, he flips 700 pounds, top turnbuckle.
Spanish fly.
Oh my God, they did a Spanish fly off the top.
Yes.
That had, how many pounds is that hitting the ground? 600?
Close to it. Close enough for government work. Yeah, that's about 270, 330. Yeah, so you're about 600 pounds.
Double A spine buster, jackknife, near fall, all the good stuff. Eventually, of course, Drew hits the there were moments where I thought, oh my God, he's Keith Lee, they're going to pull the trigger here, and Keith Lee's going to be the guy. But I do think a lot of times with a Vince run operation, he isn't as, the claims are he's not that familiar with NXT stuff. He saw the excitement at the Rumble with Lee. He's seen what Lee can do. There's the footage of him backstage after being happy with Lee and like pounding on his chest and saying, you know, me and you, baby, we're going to go a long way. There's the rumors that he sent him back to the developmental, which we thought meant NXT. However, what it really meant was, we're not doing house shows right now. And there are certain things I want you to be able to do to tell stories, and you can't learn that without wrestling. You know what I mean? To do what not that you can't wrestle, but I have a certain way I like big men to do things.
Yes.
In order for you to learn that, you have to work. Because he didn't wind up on NXT. He wound up going back there on Tuesdays and moving around with big guys and learning what Vince wants to do. But what we get here is the Claymore 1, 2, 3, and I do think this performance will comfort Vince in knowing I can absolutely put my biggest belt on this guy and get the match I want.
But that's not what he did.
Well, he had to see it. That's what I'm saying. Vince has to see it in this event 2 or 3 times before he pulls the trigger on it.
Yeah.
He doesn't just pull the trigger.
Yeah, but you know what he's seen for like, I don't know, 2-3 years now?
What's that?
Goldberg matches. Has he seen a good one?
You left out the 3 for like 32 years now.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
I'm just talking about the recent history of Goldberg matches.
Yes. All 3 matches, 3 minutes. Okay. Let's get let's get to that, because
that's the 30 for 30. 3 matches, 3 minutes. The Goldberg 30 for 30.
Yes, yes. After this, Drew grabs the mic and he's going to congratulate Keith on a hell of a match, I feel like. But instead, Goldberg's music hits.
Supposedly he was supposed to say something that Goldberg could make out as him disparaging legends or something like that.
And it was never said.
It's never said, but Bill Goldberg is a professional, and if you give him lines to read, my friend, it doesn't matter if the context was given or any setup was provided. He's going to give you what you paid for, which was these words.
Right, and Drew McIntyre, who has spent, when Randy Orton, the whole program with Randy Orton was, you don't respect legends. The payoff of said program was every legend that Randy had hurt came back and helped Drew. And then Bill is out there talking about how you have no respect. And Drew's kind of looking at him like, yeah, that's not going to work.
I didn't get to give the promo, Bill. Were you watching?
And so
backstage.
And so
I just got here.
Well, the thing about Bill is he probably is like, you do realize I hate pro wrestling.
I hate everything about this place.
Except, the check.
Yeah. I want to go back to my history show about knives.
And so, of course, Drew, I guess, decides, you know what? If you're just going to read off the script, I'm going to tell the truth, which is, and Drew, bless his soul, this is probably my favorite thing he's ever done. He says, you remember when you were 30 years ago when you were a destroyer? You remember when you could wreak havoc on anything that stood across the ring from you? That's who I am right now. Wrestling, fighting you would be like fighting my dad. And it's like, I almost felt like, Vince is probably backstage like, man, that wasn't what I had in there, and I am furious, and there's nothing I can do because he's my champ.
Yeah.
But Bill pushes him down, so, you have the Sandlot.
And then Drew has to sell it.
Yeah.
Oh, it fell over.
Meanwhile, I've watched Drew beat up Miz and Morrison back to back. They put him in matches with 4 guys.
Yeah.
And he's got a tag team partner that's injured and on the outside, and Drew doesn't sell any of that contact.
No.
Goldberg does the equivalent
of the finger poke of doom.
And Drew hits the ground.
Oh, like he got shot out of a cannon.
Oh my God. Okay, now I want to say this. I made fun of this episode. I had some issues. You had some issues with it. I was thoroughly entertained by this episode in spite of everything I've said.
Yeah.
For 2 hours and 59 minutes.
Yes.
And Bill Goldberg comes out, and I'm like,
sucks the air out of the room.
Damn it, Vince.
Damn it. You just can't let me have nice things.
Oh my God. Why Bill Goldberg?
And here's my thing. What I really would have loved is if in that moment, after Keith Lee just lost to Drew and Bill Goldberg's like getting in Drew's face, if all of a sudden Keith Lee comes out from out of nowhere and just like smacks Bill Goldberg in the back with a chair and then hits Drew McIntyre and then just goes heel by just destroying Bill Goldberg. Like spirit bomb him.
Not even go heel, go face.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would be marking out for this.
This is for all those people that dedicated their whole lives to wanting to be pro wrestlers, and you walked in here because you happened to be the one dude that got kicked out of football in Atlanta when the power plant was there.
Yes. Exactly.
We talked about it. And guys, Goldberg had a moment, and it was huge moment, and he was a big deal in pro wrestling, all of that stuff. But Bill Goldberg stood there and said, time and again over the years, he wasn't a big pro wrestling fan. You know, when he talks about the greatest moment of his career, winning the thing in the Georgia Dome, he says, I got to celebrate with my teammates. Mm-hmm. He wasn't talking about wrestlers. Mm-mm. He was talking about getting to celebrate with the Dirty Birds, that generation of Atlanta Falcons. Mm-hmm. He was a Georgia guy. Mm-hmm. He was a Falcons guy. Mm-hmm. He was that he considered his home. Yes. That's what touched his heart. And good for him.
Yes, wonderful, my friend.
As Kevin Nash said, I was good at making money and having a good time. I'm sorry Bill didn't want to do all of that.
No.
Dude, that documentary, watch it and just feel how Kevin is letting you know, both with what he says and what he loosely implies and what he looks at you at.
Yeah.
Like, this, I can say these things, and I can look at you like this and let you know there's so much more here.
Right behind the scene of, but if you just follow this thread, right, you'll know exactly how this went
But
down.
I'm Kevin Nash, and one thing I'm always going to do is stay on the payroll.
Yep. I'm not ruining this gravy train.
No.
Because I like to make money and have fun.
Yes. And the key to having fun
is to make money.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of fun, SmackDown.
Woo!
Cole Graves. Roman comes out with Paul Heyman, Jey Uso. Roman likes Kevin Owens. He respects the ambition. He respects the fact that the guy won't lay down. He respects the guy's a cockroach. Mm-hmm. What can you respect more than a cockroach? Mm-hmm. That's survivors. What Roman lets you know.
Survivors.
Roman doesn't want to do bad things. He doesn't want bad things to happen. He cares about the whole locker room. That's why he provides for all these people's families by
being awesome.
Yes, absolutely. People are blaming me. That's not fair. There's only one man to blame, and it's Adam Pearce. And he summons Adam Pearce to his presence, his boss. He summons his boss, Adam Pearce, to his presence. Yes. Paul tells the guy, get Adam out here because this is bad television if he's not. Because we're not doing anything till he gets out here.
Yes.
Adam comes out, and Roman lets him know, what do you have to say for yourself? Be a man. Take responsibility. I have witnesses. I was done with Kevin Owens. I let everybody know I was done with Kevin Owens. He went to you, his friend. He trusted you to make a good decision for him, and then you fed him to me. Mm-hmm. Do your job. Do your job. Don't take your friend and put him in a Shark Tank and then be mad because he got bit. Mm-hmm. As Chris Rock said, Tiger didn't go crazy when it bit the guy's head off that stuck his at the circus when he
Tell about old Siegfried and Roy, the magician, or
right? He said, you know, the guy sticks his head in the tiger's mouth, and they go, "Oh, the tiger went crazy." He said, "No, the tiger was crazy when he was riding on a unicycle.
yes,
When you stuck your head in his mouth and he bit you,
that's tiger being a tiger.
Tiger went tiger.
Yeah,
right. You put him in the Shark Tank, shark got him.
Shark bit him.
That's your fault. Own it. Own it. You think it's, you know what? Why don't you wind up in this gauntlet match? Because there shouldn't have been a gauntlet match because I decide who my competitors are.
Mm-hmm.
You think I'm stupid? I'm not. If I don't get to decide the future of the program, the direction of the show, then you're implying that I'm stupid. If I'm not stupid, then you're stupid. Are you saying Vince is stupid?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he just kept walking him.
Oh, it was so good.
And Adam Pearce did a good job of playing the...
Adam is good.
Yeah, playing the befuddled, poor me. You know, I'm just a guy who got stuck in this situation, and now I'm...
Either Adam Pearce is really good, or he was befuddled and just a guy that got stuck in that situation.
Yeah, which is entirely possible.
Correct.
So when I showed up tonight, I was just supposed to come out and make 3 matches. Now I'm stuck in a match.
I'm not even really a GM. Like,
No.
they just tell me what to say. It's always never more than 3 sentences.
Yes.
And here I am in front of you, and you're just totally undressing me in front of the world, and they gave me 2 sentences.
And I like the moment where Roman goes to like put his hands on him, and Paul does the, just a suggestion, just counsel that you might not
Want to manhandle this guy right now. Right now.
Right now. And then Roman's, you're safe right now.
It was perfect.
It was great. You knew.
Yeah.
He was like, this ain't over.
No.
This is over.
Right.
This ain't over.
And Pierce wants nothing to do with being a gauntlet match. He hasn't wrestled in 6 years.
Yeah.
All of that. Apollo versus Big E is the first match, and Apollo dominates early. He attacks. I thought this was really well done. You get the superplex. Both men
double
hook legs, which means both men's shoulders are on the mat. You get a 1, 2, 3, and both guys are counted out. And the match is kind of over. Apollo says, "I want my rematch right now. I deserve it." He slaps the taste out of Big E's mouth, and Big E flips the script. We get another little quick, good little match.
where Big E's very dominant.
Yeah, and then once Apollo does manage to flip that script, it only takes Big E 2 moves, a Uranagi and a big ending, and it's over. Mm-hmm. Because of the massiveness of Big E, which is a good story to tell.
Yes.
I thought Apollo looked great here. I thought Big E got to showcase the fact that he can be a champion, that the guy he wrestles looks better in defeat than he would have in a weird victory. Or a weird loss.
Yeah.
Big E sold.
Exactly. He's not a one-trick pony.
No, and wonderful that we're getting to see that now. Adam Pearce welcomed Sonya Deville, who, holy cow, they didn't just erase the angle of her losing the "I'll never wrestle again" thing. She comes back as a office person.
Yeah.
And I had forgotten. They had to remind me that she lost the loser thingy. So...
And then she kind of sneaks in the suggestion, too, of him being in the gauntlet match.
And he oh, no, I'm not going to do that. And that's when he explains his history. I won't want to do that. Then we go to Bianca and Bayley, a little back and forth there where they're both declaring. And I think they have a lot of both in-ring and just chemistry in general.
I do, too.
I enjoyed this little back and forth here. Sasha was the #1 superstar of 2020 according to Sports Illustrated. And if you look at that list, I think I have it. Let me see. I think I have it here handy. It was not I thought for sure it had to have been
all of just WWE people, but it wasn't.
No. She was 1. Moxley was 2. McIntyre 3. Tetsuya Naito. Yes. 4. Omega 5. Bayley 6. Io 7. Coda 8. Roman 9. And Kingston 10. So at first when I read it, I thought they didn't put any thought into this. And I'm not saying I disagree with that. Yeah. I did a year-end list, and she's extremely high on my list because a huge part of the Bayley Sasha program was Sasha doing all the fighting for Bayley. Yes. So she put on banger after banger after banger after banger on 3 different shows. You know what I mean? So I did find it interesting though that they thought through it a little more than I had assumed. But that all leads to Mella saying that, oh yeah, by the way, I pinned you last week, and part of the reason why you were number one is that I took a significant amount of time off last year, and that things come incredibly easy to me and evidently not to you.
Yes
and no.
Yeah.
I don't mind the promo. None of it's true.
None of it's true. You're asking me to believe something that I've witnessed in front of me. Yes.
Okay, let's get to the Street Profits versus Ziggler and Rude. Montez is hurt from the week before. Ziggler is stealing Hunter's sleeveless denim coat and leather jacket. He's already stolen Shawn Michaels' moveset. When I look at this, to be totally honest with you, Bobby Roode wrestles like Triple H.
Yes.
So these guys have now...
Doesn't Dolph use the Famouser too?
They are DX.
Well, he is personally...
Yes.
He's got something.
If he would just dance poorly,
yes,
he could be Road Dogg and we'd be off and running.
Yeah. If he would do the, or do the ladies and gentlemen, children, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Yeah.
Just one time, dude, you have united.
All DX in one human.
Yes, he's like Voltron.
And they wrestle a lot like Shawn.
Yes, very much so.
And so Dawkins looks great here. Look, the story here is that I think I'm just going to jump to it. I wrote a huge amount of notes on this, but the bottom line is Spinebuster Zigzag Combo wins this thing, and the tag team titles are now on the, what do they call them?
Dirty Dogs.
I think what was more important to me is I cared more about the Street Profits watching Montez have to fight without all of his bullets. Being injured. It's very hard to go out there and sell an injury when it's not, because if he was hurt like that, he wouldn't have been out there. So to sell that injury the entire match and do it in a way where I'm not going, this is crap.
Yeah.
Because 9 out of 10 times I do that. That didn't happen. It was well done. Dawkins being in a scenario where a couple of times he looks at his buddy and goes, I can't put him in this. So he winds up having to get beat down to the point where he's desperate to tag in Ford. Ford, unable to utilize his aerial tactics, does use some hard-hitting clotheslines and things like that that I didn't know he really could do.
Oh, and he sold it well.
I really thought this showcased what they could be as singles wrestlers, what they can be after some of their uber athleticism leaves them, along with the stories they are capable of telling going forward. I thought this was good for them.
I was so happy, and this one's weird things. I think it's the best thing that could have happened to them right now is to lose those belts.
I was shocked, and I was somewhat okay.
I was very happy. I was very happy with it, actually.
Yeah,
because they've had them for so long, and it just didn't. It just gotten stale.
Right.
You needed to do something different, and for them. Go feud somebody, you know.
Well, or pass them back and forth some, but let's have some adversity instead of, show something other than that. Allow them to be something other than what they've been recently, which is, and I think they're uber talented, so I can't wait to see where we go here. DeVille winds up asking, "What do we do about this? Do we put Otis and Gable in there?" Which is funny because she's had issue with Otis. Then, Adam Pearce, who's training her to be some form of an administrator, says, well, we also have to think about a rematch. And then she throws out Legends, which obviously she's still a heel if she's throwing out Legends into this mix. Paul rolls up, and DeVille seems happy to see Paul.
I'm telling we're seeing it. We're seeing it. She's going to be an ally. They're going to get Adam Pearce out of the way, and then
Adam Pearce is going to wind up on Raw, right?
Well, he's going to wind up in a hospital.
And then on Raw. And Sonya's going to wind up being...
Because it's a conflict of interest now if he deals with Roman.
Right. And Sonya's going to wind up being in Paul and Roman's corner.
Yeah.
And because she's a heel anyway, and we're going to find out how big a heel she is when she's in charge.
And she can be a cool addition to that group.
Dude, her and the way Roman's killing it right now.
Yeah. I wonder if Paul Heyman even said, man, I want to work.
Give me that. Right. Because she proved on that heel run what she's capable of.
Yes. She is a superstar.
And acting crazy and obsessed was something,
Uh-huh.
but I feel like calm, calculating boss lady.
Evil.
Yes.
Yes.
The real DeVille.
Yes.
Cruella.
Yeah, and you could tell still when she was like, of course I'm not bitter that I lost a, loser
How
leaves
could I
WWE.
not be better?
Yeah, and my best
But I'm
friend
not,
and
right?
my friend went over to Raw, got put in a random tag team. I love that she called her out for that.
Yes. Okay. So Paul does wind up. She exits stage right, and Paul winds up delivering the delusions of grandeur to Scrap Daddy Pierce, who we did not know of the legend of Scrap Daddy Adam Pierce, and how if Paulie Dangerously had been your manager, what glories could you have accomplished,
Dude?
And they're still out there for you. I pulled some strings, Adam, and I managed to get you into the match.
Yeah, and at this moment, my heart kind of fell.
Because you knew.
I knew what the ending was.
Right.
Because I figured this is all an excuse for Roman to get that dude in the ring with him so I can punish him
And humiliate him.
and
Right. But also, the Royal Rumble is a pay-per-view that's not about the belts.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is about the Rumble itself.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to do something like this, you do it here.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not going to be the main event anyway. You can do it at the beginning of the show, the middle of the show. The only thing is you also have Goldberg. I guarantee you Pierce is a better wrestler than Goldberg, though.
I'd put a paycheck on that.
Okay. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
But
for me.
Yeah.
For me, it's a lot of money.
Correct. Okay.
For people, with
for Bill Goldberg, not so much.
Not so much.
Right. Billie Kay is reveling in their win last week as she has anointed herself the new Riot Squad member.
She's seen Blink 182.
Ruby and Liv turn her down, to your point. Liv winds up trying to say, no, we don't, because Billy starts crying and throws Ella out there, and then, of course, misinterprets everything they said and is now joined up. And she says, I can be a punk. Yes. Mm-hmm. Blink 182. Yes. And she added that mosh pitting is now on her resume.
Yes.
And hands them a resume, to which, in Ruby's disgust, it's there. P-I-T-T-I-N-G.
Mm-hmm.
It's a verb.
Yes, it is.
Rey Mysterio with Dom first for our main event of the evening.
Why does Dom get up in the morning, look in his mirror, and go, you know what? How can I look like Tony Soprano's illegitimate child?
Yes.
He looks like a New Jersey mobster.
His dad literally has Louis Vuitton masks.
Yes.
So it's,
I guess it's
apples don't fall far from trees. It's smooth though, son. Smooth. Got the gold chain on the outside of the mock turtleneck. Also, if you need to slide down something quickly, his attire is advantageous.
Yes. It's also highly flammable, I would imagine. Like, he shouldn't be in an Inferno match wearing that stuff.
Right. Be careful.
Be careful, buddy.
Now, then we have the conspiracy theorist, Sami Zayn, who was in the first match.
With his documentarians?
Correct. He is great as he heightens all of this on the walk down. And then as
you knew what was going to happen, though.
He turns to give advice to his guys about where to be located to film this. And, of course, Rey Mysterio kicks him in the back, 619 him.
Hits the frog splash.
Yeah, and it's over.
It's over.
2 moves, minute and a half, done deal.
Most of that, 99% of that was the walk.
Yeah.
To the ring.
Right. Which I didn't mind any of that.
No. That was funny.
Yeah, okay. So Shinsuke's coming out now, and we get Mysterio versus Shinsuke, which is very, very fun, very good. Shinsuke was great tonight, which I think was the real point.
That was what I ended up taking away from this.
Yeah. And I tell you where I think we're going. I hope that I'm not wrong. But we get the 619 frog, then the frog splash. Shinsuke gets the knees up, turns that into an armbar.
He was so
good at transitions
tonight, as far as his transitions. Mm-hmm. Everything he did looked so slick.
He's just the best. And he gets ready to tap. Corbin comes out, drops Dominic, which is,
Good job, Corbin.
If he's going to be a heel, we're going to have to stop this.
Yes, you're getting yourself over too much.
Yeah. Okay. Then Knock winds up getting into it with Corbin.
Well, he jumps Knock from behind, hits him.
We go to commercial break and everybody's out. Ray, Knock, and Dom come back and there's a match going on and Knock is still on the ropes a little bit. We wind up with the almost a beatdown kind of.
But Knock fights from under most of the match.
Yeah, and then as Corbin does the slide out of the ring, jump into the ring real quickly, which is kind of his thing.
Yeah,
he runs right into a
Kinshasa, dude, just perfectly. It was done so slick you could even Corey and them didn't it was over, so it was like bam.
Corey said it's my favorite call to make in wrestling, and it was so fast I missed it.
Yeah, that's a good line, dude.
It was, and it was great.
Looked so good. Baron Corbin, man,
dude,
looked so good. We kind of glossed over it a little bit, but the striking in that match was really tight.
Both of them.
Both of them know how to strike. It looks good.
Mm-hmm. And we get striking on another level when Daniel Bryan comes out.
Yes.
Who's the next match, and they had some really great
submission transitions and striking changes.
On their feet, kicks. Daniel's a great kicker.
Yeah.
And, of course, Shinsuke's a legitimately
great kicker.
Correct. And, of course, Daniel knows all these wonderful holds, and Shinsuke is able to roll through those and turn them into other things. Daniel's able to do it back. Daniel may be the best at writing a script out for a match that there is. And this is wonderfully done.
Oh, yeah. The transitions from, triangles to omoplatas to all these cool moves you got to see, and it was just excellent all the way through.
Yeah. No. Let's see. DB has him off the top rope. Shinsuke holds on as Daniel falls down, and then we get the leaping kick to the chest. Daniel Bryan winds up.
There was a spot where Daniel Bryan had him in the yes lock and then pulled his arm back too so he couldn't reach and he had to reach. That looked sick.
Mm-hmm. Then we had the Daniel was going with the kicks to the head. Oh, the finish though winds up being Knock winds up with a couple of kicks to the head, and then Daniel Bryan hits 2 kicks to the head and goes for the third.
Yeah, the running single leg drop kick to the face
he does. It looks so great.
Almost like a Claymore.
And Daniel does it where he flips over and lands onto his feet.
Yes.
And he does that a couple of times, and when he goes for the third, Knock flies out of the corner and drops him.
Just out of nowhere.
Right. Again. And
again establishing his finisher is sudden, dangerous.
It happened in a flash.
It's not. What I saw from this match was, and I'm so hopeful that this is what I actually saw, was a complete, almost rehabilitation of a character in one match, or at least a huge step in that direction from what you've been doing with him for a year now.
Okay, let's finish this show, and then let's go further into what you're talking about if we can think to do it. Okay, now Shinsuke has won a third match.
And Daniel, after the match,
acknowledges the greatness that just happened for us all. He goes to shake the hand, and they do shake hands.
And they very respectful.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, Roman's music hits. And he comes out with his entourage of Jay and Paulie. Then Pierce is forced to come out. Roman escorts him down. Roman looks at Jay and says, go get him.
Mm-hmm.
Knock thinks that they're going to go eye to eye. He does not foresee what's really going to happen, and Jay sucker punches him.
Mm-hmm.
Then he winds up with the super kick on Knock. Then Roman hits the Superman punch, and then we get the Uso splash. And then, of course, Adam Pearce is told to get into the ring. He gets super kicked. And so now we have the two competitors are completely unconscious. Ray intimidates the referee into ringing the bell. Ray tells Roman intimidates the referee into ringing the bell. Roman tells Jay to put Adam on Nakamura, which he does. Roman intimidates the referee into counting to 3. Roman will now be headlining, or not headlining, but he'll be facing Adam Pearce to show Adam what his role really is in the realm of pro wrestling, which is nothing.
Yes.
And to embarrass him and humiliate him. And that is that portion of the story. What I think the real story is,
or I'm hopeful the real story is,
and I think it is, Daniel Bryan caught lightning in a bottle on a build-up to WrestleMania and became the most important thing in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
A few years later, Kofi did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It started with Kofi with a gauntlet match.
Sure did.
Seth Rollins' ascent into being the burn it down guy started with a gauntlet match. We put Shinsuke in the same format, and like what you said, they totally rehabilitated a character.
Mm-hmm.
And Shinsuke was trending last night on Twitter. Nakamura was trending last night on Twitter. Both his first and last name were trending, and people were saying, we got behind Kofi on this app, and we got Kofi Mania. Force that to happen again. If you look at the world of pro wrestling outside of the WWE,
mm-hmm.
Wrestle Kingdom, G1 is the most important thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like most respected thing.
Yes.
Then you turn that around, and the biggest thing in pro wrestling in the States outside of WWE is a Bullet Club reunion.
Yes.
Which is also New Japan.
Yes.
The most famous, well-renowned legend walking the planet of New Japan is Shinsuke Nakamura. And he's in their company. And I think they think, if I can build this, we can force people that don't, like they did with Kofi,
mm-hmm.
like they did with Daniel. You don't like us, but the guy you love's in our main event.
If they give me that, man, I'll be happy.
Oh my God. And I dude, I got goosebumps thinking about it.
Yes.
And thinking about a program in which Roman is able to just totally go full on evil heel
mm-hmm.
and bury all the things indie wrestling fans love.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, that's what you want, though.
Yeah.
He's the heel, right?
Yes.
And it's the thing. Here's the beauty of it. The greatest thing in WWE, both for WWE fans and non-WWE fans, is Roman.
Yeah.
Putting him in a program where he can show them how great he is by belittling what they love is exactly what a true wrestling fan who gets it will totally fall in love with.
Yeah.
Right? And then if Shinsuke can get some back and forth, and if win or lose,
mm-hmm.
Shinsuke Nakamura main eventing WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's everything.
Yeah.
You know? And so what a great, fun times.
Do you think they'll have him be a 2-time Royal Rumble winner?
No, because I feel like if he wins the Royal, I think he'll be second or third. Something will happen that cost him, right? Whoever's facing Drew's going to win, right?
You think that's it?
Right? Because then that turns into Shinsuke having to jump more hurdles. You can put him in there with Jay.
Yeah.
Then you can have Roman.
Maybe you have Jay come out there, and it looks like Shinsuke's about to get the win. Jay's already out or something, or some kind, and comes out there and costs him. Or
Shinsuke knocks Jay out.
Yes.
And Jay in turn does something to cost Shinsuke.
Yeah.
He starts to go away, sits around ringside like he's mad, and then he mm-hmm. jumps in and throws Shinsuke out. Something.
Yeah.
Or maybe you have Jimmy and Jay if Jimmy can get healthy.
Yeah.
And then
here's my question too though. Where's Cesaro?
Well, that's the troublesome thing, because if you don't want Shinsuke to be a heel, which he can't be in anything, that was the whole purpose of the show, right? It's Shinsuke's mm-hmm. not a heel anymore. What do we do? Now, mm-hmm. Here's the thing, though. You can, in turn, put Cesaro on the island of relevancy.
Mm-hmm.
Roman can factor that in. You can do that, especially if Jimmy's hurt.
Yeah.
You can make Cesaro part of the hurdle.
Yeah.
And, dude, Cesaro Shinsuke.
Oh, that'd be a banger.
I'm sure it is somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's footage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somewhere along the line, whether it was Sheboygan or
Oshkosh.
Yeah, someplace. Yeah. So I had a great week. You?
I did.
Awesome.
Really enjoyed it.
Ran a little bit long, but we wonderful. I think we needed to talk about everything we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the running down of Bill Goldberg.
Yes, that is a national treasure in itself.
Yes, timeless.
Timeless.
Okay. For me, KP, for Justin, for the Go Home Heat Podcast Network.
There it is.
Is that what that is?
We'll go with it.
For Charles Gibson and Ginn Project, who helps us out as much as possible. Thank you so much. And
Go home.
copyright 2021. Go home.
Yeah, you remembered it.
Every now and then.